Welcome to episode 56 of Sport SA Daily Diary. Today we're chatting to multiple boxing world champion Brian Mitchell. Good morning, Brian. How are we doing today?
Morning, Adam. I'm fine, and you? What's it like in Cape Town?
I'm in Joburg, actually. And
Are you actually in Gangster's Paradise, eh?
Absolutely. Yeah, the place to be. I think it's safer in Joburg than it is in Cape Town from the virus, to be honest.
I think it's becoming safer.
How are things going with the lockdown with you, Brian? Obviously, you can't get out.
It's been tough times, Adam. You know, we at the moment I am out at the shops trying to get some winter jerseys and things, but lockdown's been very tough for all of us. You know, it's I've got a gym at home in my garage. I put up a bag and a speedball, and I've been running up and down the stairs in my house for 6 weeks. So tough. Yeah, I missed the gym and I missed the boxing tournaments.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And but I suppose it's the same for everybody, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, are you still quite active in terms of boxing yourself? I will get into the coaching and the management and that, but do you still train quite a lot in sort of boxing terms?
Yeah, well, I used to have a gym where I managed and trained fighters, and about 10 years ago I decided to just go on the management side. I prefer the business side now, so I don't have to go to the boxing gym every day to train fighters. But I'm still very involved as a manager and as a spokesperson for Golden Gloves, which is the biggest promoting company in Africa. So, yeah, I work for Golden Gloves, I work for Supersport, and, yeah, very much so still involved as a 58-year-old in the sport of boxing, which is all I know. I've been in it for 50 years.
Brian, let's go back to 50 years ago. How did you get into boxing? Was it something that you did at school? Were you playing other sports at school?
No, well, Adam, it's in the family genes. You know, my dad was a South African bantamweight champion back in 1962 when I was like a year old, and my grandfather used to fight just after the Second World War. So it's pretty much in the genes. But I wanted to be a boxer like my dad. As I said, he was a South African champion. But going back to the beginning, my mom and dad divorced when I was 5 years old, and I'm an only child. Yeah. So, yeah, I had to ask my mom to put me into the boxing gym. And as a 9-year-old, I just nagged my mother and I said, that's what I want to do. You know, my mom said, no, she doesn't want an only little boy to get punched in the nose, you know, the normal story. And eventually she realized that was my dream. It was my passion. It was what I wanted to do. And I'm 59 this year. So, yeah, 50 years in boxing from a 9-year-old kid.
That's amazing, Brian. And tell me, I mean, how quickly did you take to it? Obviously, you had it in the genes from your dad, but were you pretty good right from the outset?
Yeah, you know, boxing is hard work. It's as a professional fighter, I was training 4 hours a day and committing myself every day. Yeah. But even when you're a 9-year-old child, you know, you're weighing 25 kilograms and you've got to fight at 23 kilograms. You got to learn that discipline, that dedication from a young age, how to make the weight and how to be fit. You know, when you get in the boxing ring, it's you by yourself. You know, nobody can help you. But yeah, to answer your question, I was pretty good. I was okay. I was a South African champion at 11 years old. So when I went to school, to high school, to Jeppy boys, and the bigger boys tried their luck with me, they came second because I was already a South African champion.
Yeah. And tell me, Brian, were you ever scared getting into the ring at that age? Did you ever have like fear of getting hit, or just completely comfortable?
No, you know, when I talk to kids today and motivate kids or motivate people about getting in a boxing ring or the fear of a big business deal, it's not scared. You know, you're nervous. But if you haven't trained for your task, like in boxing, or as a school kid you haven't studied for an exam, then you're going to be scared, you know. So I was never scared. I was just a bit nervous because I knew I'd done the hard work. But it's what you put into life, you get out of it, you know, whether it's schoolwork, whether it's business, whether it's being a professional sportsman. But I would say, yeah, the hard work and the perseverance took away the scared side and just made me a bit nervous, which is natural. But I was always very confident and positive that I was going to win. You know, as I said, it's what you put into it, you get out of it.
Yeah. And was there pressure from your dad to succeed? Because obviously he'd been a champion. Was there that pressure for you to match his level or go one better?
No, not really. You know, my dad wasn't there, as I said, when I was a child. So it was a lot from my mom. She put me into boxing and she helped me and backed me and drove me up and down to the boxing gym. But once my dad knew that I was boxing and wanted to be a professional boxer, he backed me a lot. And when I became world champion, I took my dad overseas many times with me. And he was more nervous than I was at the fight. You know, our parents. So my dad used to come into the dressing room and he was a nervous wreck. And I used to say to him, Dad, just go sit at ringside. You've got a ringside seat. Go and enjoy the fights. I've got this covered, you know. So, yeah, my dad was more nervous than I was for the big fights.
And tell us, Brian, I mean, when you turned pro in 1981, I mean, your record speaks for itself. 49 fights, 45 wins, 21 knockouts, 1 loss. I mean, really, 3 draws. When you turned pro, was it a big step up from being amateur? Because obviously, I mean, you took to it like a duck to water.
Yeah, I think so. But it is a big step up. It definitely is, because now all of a sudden, the crowd is massive, where you're going from 100 or 200 people in a little room. Now you've got 10,000 people, however many people come to a professional boxing fight, and you've got no vest on, and you're a man now. You know, you're 18 years old, you're fighting another man. And when you're 18, you can fight a guy that's 25, you can fight a guy that's 30 for that matter, when you're a professional boxer. So, yeah, it's a big step up, but it's a step that I managed to make, and I committed myself.
And Brian, talk to us about your first title fight in 1986 when you won the WBA junior lightweight. What were your feelings going into that fight, knowing the title was on the line?
Well, it was very tough, Adam, because as a South African, we never got opportunities. And when I did get the opportunity, thanks to Saul Kersner and to guys like Stan Christodoulou for getting me the WBA title fight, when I got it, I was nervous. I thought I wasn't maybe good enough to step up to that level. But as I said, I was a confident guy that believed in himself. And I got in there against Alfredo Lane, who was the world champion, knocked him down in the 10th round 3 times, and won the world title in 1986 in a scheduled 15-round fight. Yeah, it was amazing to become South Africa's only world champion. And I proved that I can do it. I proved that I'm a South African in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. We've got the Ernie Elsers and the Gary Players in the Golf Hall of Fame. South Africans are tough people, and we're good sportsmen. Across the board as sportsmen, we are great.
Yeah.
I believe I say so myself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're certainly one of the greatest of all time. Brian, you fought a lot. Was anyone specific your toughest opponent? Was it Tony Lopez or someone else?
My ex-wife's probably the toughest opponent. Didn't expect that, I know. Well, Tony Lopez, yes, definitely. Tony Lopez had beaten 5 world champions before I fought him. Joe Rivera knocked me down twice. I've never been knocked down in my professional career. I fought a guy, Joe Rivera from Puerto Rico, knocked me off my feet, and he was pretty tough. But I think you know every fight's tougher, Adam, because every time you get in there in a boxing ring and now you're world champion, you're giving a guy an opportunity to face you for the world title. A club fighter, an average guy, although you don't fight average guys, you fight guys that are in the top 10. But a guy, let's say, is number 10 in the world, and you pick him in a fight, and you think it's going to be a relatively easy fight. It's never easy. It's tough because guys get up for it. So every single fight as a world champion, as a boxer, is tough.
Yeah. And Brian, when you did lose a match, you pretty much got up right there and then and fought him again and beat him. What was it like losing that one and only fight?
Yeah, it wasn't nice. You know, I was 20 years old and I fought a guy called Jacob Maraki, and I thought I won the fight, but you know the judges obviously never gave me the decision. Tough, because I was undefeated and I wanted to stay undefeated, and I just trained harder and worked harder and committed myself, and I never lost again. And I defeated Jacob Maraki 3 times after that. So the only guy to ever beat me, I beat 3 times after that. So pretty much quite undefeated. As a South African champion, I never lost. As a world champion, I never lost.
And Brian, I mean, you had a long career, but unfortunately, due to the times, the apartheid and all that, you were never able to defend your title in South Africa. That must have been a little bit disappointing that you could never sort of showcase your amazing skills and the champion that you were in your backyard.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. It was very tough times because if you can't fight in your own country, you're up against the odds. The judges don't like you, the referees don't like you, the crowd are against you. And I became known as the Road Warrior. The international media called me the Road Warrior those years, which is actually quite a lekker name. I fought in Puerto Rico, I went to Panama, I went to France, I went to Spain, I went to Italy 5 times, I went to United States, I went to London. So yeah, geez, I did it all. I had 13 world title fights on the road, and unfortunately, I was never able to fight in South Africa. And here I am, so many years later, still living in the country and still supporting the country. I'm a true South African, and it was sad that I couldn't fight in front of my own people.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly are a true South African, and we're certainly proud to have you as South African and being in the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Thanks.
Brian, now you obviously get to see boxing from a different light. To me, I used to watch boxing a lot with my dad when I was growing up. I remember watching your fights. I remember actually coming to watch you train, and Harold Fulbrecht was there. Boxing to me today is not the same. It's becoming a bit of a show more. I mean, you look at some of these guys and the dramatic ways in which they come into the ring and all of that kind of thing. Do you think boxing is still where it was when you were fighting in terms of the toughness of the opponents, the likes of you, the likes of Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, all of those great champions? Whereas opposed to now, they're coming in with masks on their face and all this drama, and they're actually taking away from the sport itself.
Yeah.
Well,
boxing is show business. It is show business as well, and obviously it's got to another level with the Mayweathers, like you say, coming in with all these fancy outfits, and the Wilders and the Furies. I personally, and obviously I'm going to say that, and I'm talking for my generation, I think the 80s fighters were tougher. I think they were better. And I don't think boxing's at the level now that it was in our time. But you do have guys that have taken it to the next level, like a Floyd Mayweather, like a Lomachenko, like a Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez. You spoke about Lennox Lewis. Those were good guys, but Lennox Lewis was just after my time as well. Yeah. I don't think the heavyweight division in particular can compete at all. No. You can't compare the guys today to the Lennox Lewis's, the Mike Tysons. And going back, I'm a Joe Louis fan. He was our greatest heavyweight, I think. The world's greatest heavyweight, 25 world title fights. Muhammad Ali says he's the greatest, but I don't think he is. Floyd Mayweather also says he's the greatest, and he's definitely not. But no, boxing's not like it used to be. But it's still great. It's still, in the 21st century, we've got to go with what we got. You got the great Lomachenko, as I said, and I'm working with a 21-year-old kid now that's very good. Ricardo Malajika is undefeated, and hoping to take him to a world title in the next couple of years. And then we've got the Kevin Arenas, in the Golden Glove stable. So we're looking okay.
And tell me, Brian, do you, when you're managing your guys, do you bring back the importance of boxing and what the sport of boxing stands for, as opposed to all this drama and the crap that the other guys are coming up with?
Yeah, Adam, I definitely do. I say to them, stay with the basics. It's not about clowning. It's not a big show. It's not WWF wrestling. It's the real deal. You got to focus. You got to be disciplined, dedicated, and committed to your task. And this is what I preach to my guys as a manager. Stay with the basics. Work hard, run hard. Running is very important. Spar hard, and that's what it's all about. For me, I don't really believe in all the fancy gyms and the fancy equipment today. I believe hard work, grinding work, running on the road, and sparring in the ring is what makes a good professional boxer.
And Brian, if you could have fought anybody, whether it be now or whether it be in your time or before your time, who would you have fought?
Well, there's a guy, Zuma Nelson, from Africa as well, from Ghana. I would love to have fought a Zuma Nelson. I just never got the opportunity. Because of politics as well, he was involved with Don King those years. And I won a WBA title and an IBF title against Lopez, and he was the WBC champion. So that was the big one I would like to have got. But as I said, unfortunately, I wasn't able to fight him those years. But Azuma Nelson, definitely, a guy like Jeff Fennick, I think would have been a tough fight. I think I could have beaten him. Perry McGuigan would have been on the list those years. Yeah. Those are the kind of guys I would like to afford. And I would like to afford in my own country, which, as I said earlier on, was out of my hands.
Yeah, I think that's a huge disappointment to all boxing fans in South Africa that we never really got the opportunity to see you defend the title here at home. Brian, just in closing, obviously you've had a phenomenal career. Was there a point in your career which is your highlight that you look back at now and say, jeepers, I'm actually damn flippin' proud of myself for doing that?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. I think, it's all a highlight. I mean, winning your first professional fight is great. Winning the South African title was great. And then, there's nothing like winning a world title. Winning a world title at Sun City in front of the South African people in my first world title fight ever. I think that's got to be my greatest highlight. And then beating Tony Lopez at home in Sacramento in my last world title fight, my 14th. And then it gets even bigger and better, to meet Nelson Mandela at the Tainus. The great Nelson Mandela flew me to Cape Town when he was president of the country. And he wanted to meet me. So it doesn't get much bigger than that if Nelson Mandela wants to meet you. Great boxing fan. He loves boxing. He was a fan of mine. We just chatted boxing all day. And then, 2009, just when you think you've done it all in boxing and met the great Nelson Mandela, and I'd met Sugar Ray Leonard, my good friend, and Mike Tyson, I was inducted into the Hall of Fame, the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York. So I'd like to think, as a little South African sitting here chatting to you, I've done it all in the sport of boxing.
Well, little in size, not little in stature. That's
not
for
in
sure.
Stature. Thank you.
Brian, it's been awesome chatting to you today on Sport SA Daily Diary. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the managing of your fighters, and hope to see you in the corner with a future world champion.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for the chat. It's been very good. Thanks for being a boxing fan.
Absolutely. Cheers, mate. Don't miss tomorrow's episode of Sport SA Daily Diary, where we chat to the man behind Madiba's security team, Rory Steyn.